Hello, Exeter, and today we have Daryl Browne in the spotlight.
Out of college.
So showed up, and then after that I bent over.
Pleasure to have you on show one. Daryl.
Garrett, thanks for having me.
Of course, you're always welcome to come on. We love having people here on the show.
Long trip over here. I can see my building right there.
Ooh, it seems very long and tedious. You could just probably flip open the window and then hop back into your office for work.
Could vault. I was a programmer in Boston, and I literally one night just put a pin on a map, like where could I still be in New Hampshire but work in Boston and not have to worry about a car. So the pin on the map landed in Exeter, and that's it. Like really, just like that. I lived in Concord before here, and yeah, this was the most convenient town. So we moved here in 2015, but I lived around. I grew up in Salem, moved to Derry. I graduated from Pinkerton in Derry in the Stone Ages, and then left for college. Came back right at 9/11, just serendipitously. Plymouth, Concord, Exeter.
Yeah, so what got you wanting to be in the select board here?
It's a very complicated answer. Nobody else had signed up, and so I'm better than no one. How's that? I'm better than, so yeah, I'd heard that there was an open spot, and really, civic duty is a duty. So I put my name in, and that was it. No campaign. Just I'm the select board member you get when you don't, sign up. So, enjoy.
Can almost picture that like a Saturday Night Live skit. Everybody sitting around. Who's going to be our next select board person? And then you just walk in. Hey.
That's exactly how it went. The campaign involved putting my name down. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. And what got you, just curious, because you were select board up north, what got you interested there?
Well, that's an actual story. There, I was a professor at computer science at PSU, and there was a string of laptop thefts going on in the town, and the police department was sure it was me, and I was pretty sure it wasn't me. So we never quite saw eye to eye on that, so I put myself under house arrest for a year. I just stayed home and I quit the university, and the old guys at the cafe were like, you should run for select board. I said, no, I'm a programmer, I'm not a politician. Like, no, thanks. And then one of them said, you should look at the org chart. And so the org chart is that the police department reports to the select board. So I thought, because my sons at the time, they were 8 and 10, so they were at that age where they were genuinely confused by what had happened. Like, I don't understand, Daddy, did you? So when I ran, I genuinely campaigned back then. I actually had signs, and my sons really got to see. Okay, it's really about agency, and you really should, because we had lived in the town for 5 years or so, and it was really shocking, and just didn't feel like, how can this happen? So instead of vying for innocence, I just took power, which felt like, okay, it was a sort of a lesson. As a tech person, you just kind of stay in your ones and zeros, and that was a big lesson. And no, you have to actually enter the world of humans, and if you expect to be represented, you take the reins. So it was very, very functional, personal survival, you could call it. But and the boys they got it after that. My son ran for vice president of his class or something, and they hold the elections in the same school, set up the same day. So he won before me, and then I won. But it was a tough time for sure. 'Cause the town had it's similar to Exeter with the PSU and like a large entities, the hospital that had lots of movement in the town. So the tax base had to deal with tax base of residential and also these big entities. It was a long 3 years. My dentist could tell when my term ended because my gums stopped receding. Gums have returned. And I said, I'll never do this again. And then, I saw that open spot. Like, oh. Yeah, it took a while. It was a year, just under a year investigation. And it was just like, because I'd walk up and down to school. I'd walk from the house to the school, back and forth, and people, here he goes, he's going, that's the guy. Like, no, I'm going home. He's just going into a house, my house.
I swear he stole another laptop.
And at some points I would be, because I did freelance work, I program for people around the world. So I was doing something for people in Ukraine or somewhere. So I hadn't moved for 9 hours. I was working in the basement, unmoved, like stationary. And the cars went on the lawn in the driveway. We got you now. We just had a sighting. Like you could put one of those ex-con things on me. I haven't moved in 9 hours. Like I haven't physically moved, so hard to help them kind of critically think through a homeowner, like, yeah, but.
It's like a series of M. Night Shyamalan twists.
Yeah. We're trying to think out the box. Go back to that guy. No, you gotta.
Yeah. All right. Well, that must have. No, that's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
So, anyway, in relation to what you were doing at that time, IT programming, what got you into the computer stuff?
So, roll back some more. After college, I worked at CNN. I was just like a low grunt, and CNN.com had started up in 1995 or so. And I just volunteered to do all kinds of tech stuff for them. So I was one of the first associate producers for CNN.com when it launched. And I had never taken a computer science class, but I grew up in an engineering household, so I was just taking things apart and making computers. So when CNN.com came, I said yes, and just kept saying yes to the .com rise, rode the wave, and I think I have the claim to fame of being the first. I put the first GIF in a news story. The GIF is gone, but the story is still online somewhere. It's "Squash Me Elmo." So, bandwidth was a big issue back then in 1996. So I figured out how can we show moving things without video. So "Squash Me Elmo" '96. My credits are in the code. Yeah. But yeah, so got into web then, and just rode the wave from Atlanta to California to back to New Hampshire. Yeah.
So is this state where you grew up in?
Yeah, I grew up in Salem. We moved here from, my father worked for GE in New York, so we moved here because he got transferred in '79. So in 1979, we moved to New Hampshire, into Salem, and then when I was in high school, we moved to, I went away for camp for the first time and said, please don't move, I just made some friends. Came home from camp, and my parents said, guess what, we moved. So we moved to Derry, which was just one town over, but a huge difference in culture. So yeah, I graduated from Pinkerton in '89, and then went to Harvard from there. Graduated from there in '93, and couldn't wait to get back to Exeter 30 years later.
Nice. So Exeter, I mean, like, what about it drew you back here? That was.
I know New Hampshire, so I like the idea that you're in a town and you can always make a difference either way. It's small enough that you can throw your hat in the ring and whatever there is to be done. If there's a problem, you can help fix it. If there's, you can be a part of anything. And I know it from. We complain about the weather. We're not as friendly as Vermont people. And I was in Massachusetts for a while figuring I'll live closer to work, and there was a point at which I got pulled over, and I still had the house up north, and I had a good friend who was a Superior Court justice down there, so it's almost like a Supreme Court justice in Massachusetts. And so I got pulled over on like a yellow light or something, and the policeman saw that my license plate was my driver's license was New Hampshire. But I had lived there for like over whatever the number of days, and he said, I can arrest you right now. And I thought, well, wait, what do you mean? Where's the live free or die thing? So I texted the judge friend, like, hey, I'm getting pulled over, and he's saying you can arrest me. Like, is that real? And she's like, yeah, it's, I forget what the real ID or whatever the rule was, but it superseded your, more libertarian rights in New Hampshire. So I thought, I don't like this. I'm going to go back to New Hampshire because I understand things there. It's just more, I like the compactness of governance here. Yeah, except for the legislature. I know that's the most bloated body in the world, but yeah. So it's something I understand. So I came back because I understand it. How's that? And Exeter, it was more convenient to Boston, and my oldest son was in MIT, so I wanted to be able to get back and forth really easily. So I've got the oldest son graduated MIT, the next one, I'm not bragging or anything, I swear. The second one was Columbia, so.
But your son got into MIT
Yeah.
and then graduated.
Yes.
Do you know how many kids in schools like that fail the first year?
Actually, I do, and MIT kids, he had the math, like, okay, X% of, so he knew his chances of, he took a year off too, so that was a showstopper. I was like, oh, he's fallen into the, he took a year off and lived here in Exeter with us, and was able to he was doing solar installations around the area. But yeah, I like to think that Exeter helped encourage him to go back to school. I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, that must be a great feeling as a father that he still made it in there and graduated and now is out in the real world.
Well, the happiest thing is that these are schools of their choosing, so that the biggest, anything they do is, I don't tell them this, but I don't really care what they do as long as it's their passions.
And within the last, 5-6 years you've been here too, you've also started up a restaurant, or been a part of the starting one for the Salt.
It's a cave, so it would sound like maybe it's a restaurant. Maybe you're telling the future, so maybe we should start serving food in the Salt Cave. It's a health protocol. In other countries, it's considered a medical procedure, but here it's unregulated, so anybody can open one. So it's a salt cave, which is basically an artificial environment it's real salt, but in a microclimate. We blow aerosol salt into the room, and you breathe it in. So the 45 minutes has the equivalent of being at sea for 5 days. So, when you go to the beach, it's good for breathing, and if you have poison ivy, you put your hand in the water. So salt has all these natural anti-inflammatory benefits. And so our daughter was born with really bad eczema, so we did this to help with her eczema, just to get her some relief. But in 2 weeks, it ended the worst of it. So I thought, well, this is great. And it wasn't an intentional business. I was intending to do it in our house, but I guess salt will destroy your foundation and your electrical, so we looked for the first place we could find, which is right there, and opened this very unexpected business that's been a great destination for people from a 4-hour radius have come, and it was the most accidental success I've ever had.
And so, thank you for coming. If there's anything else you would like to share.
It's a wonderful community. It's just, I guess I have experience living in towns around the state, and this one is, it's really something special, but extra to share. I'm pretty spent. I mean, all my guts and glory go into that bi-weekly meeting there, and holy cow. I guess it's a great town to, I'd say it's a wonderful place to get involved in. I would just encourage anyone and everyone who has any interest in being a part of making this what it is to just get involved. It's that easy,
All right.
Yeah.
Daryl, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Parkour next time. Garrett.
All right, Exeter. You heard it. If you would like to be in the spotlight as well, or would like to recommend someone, please contact us at extvg@exeternh.gov. Thank you and have a great day.